Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. Today, you are going to be watching me read very popular YA fantasy books. I should have already read these, and some of them I've actually attempted to read before, and it didn't go very well. You'll see what happens this time around. I'm already in the middle of filming this video, and I know it's already excessively long, so I'm just gonna show you the books and then get right into it. We have Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I also have Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. I have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Quite a collection here. I've heard so much about all of these, not just the books, but the series. So I could not be more excited to start. Well, I actually already started, but I can't wait to finish. All right, let's get into it. Hello, it has been like 4 hours since I started this vlog. I've gotten to page 69. That's this far, not very far at all, for 4 hours. Oh my God. And I think it's just like, I'm so excited to get to the point where like I haven't read. For those of you that don't know, I did DNF this last year. I got probably like 120 pages in. I am really enjoying the physical version way more than the audio version. For some reason, the narrator in that audiobook is like, it really irritated me. I tried it again this morning and I just couldn't do it. Let me tell you what this book is about. It's about Selena. She's a badass assassin, and at the beginning of this book, she is in like a prison. The prince comes to the prison, which is like, why wouldn't they send someone else? And he strikes a bargain with her, and she has to compete to be the king's like assassin. If she does that for 3 or 4 years, then she can be free to do whatever she wants. But in order to become the king's assassin, she has to take part in this competition. So right now she's in prison. She needs to go compete. Then she'll become an assassin for the king, and then she can be free. That's the timeline. I'm at the point where she just got to the castle. The competition's like gonna start the next day. I know that the competitors, there's like 23, she's the only girl. There's 23 other like deadly men, and they start dying like one by one, like an Agatha Christie novel. So I am excited to see what's going on. I had forgotten a few things. I forgot how interested I am about Selena and how she grew up, because she's only 18 and she's the world's best assassin. Like, she's the queen of assassins. And it's so interesting to think about how a person became that. And it turns out when she was 8, you find this out very soon, she, I think, threw herself into a river. We don't know why. I'm very curious. And the person who fished her out was this badass assassin dude. And so he raised her pretty much and taught her all these ways. And that's why she's so good at it. There's also kind of an interesting thing going on, because in this world, in this time, fae and magic, this is a fantasy, they're like illegal, and so they're like, are no more fae. But our main character is so sus about it. I feel like she has a connection to the fae. Maybe she is a fae, I don't know, question mark, question mark. So I really want to know more about her past and her history. And I know we're gonna get it either in this book or this like 6 others that are in this series. That's the thing I'm most excited to learn about for this book. I am going to read to the halfway mark, and I will update you more. It's gonna be like in 18 hours or something. Okay guys, I am halfway through. It is much later. I've had dinner, watched TV, played on my phone, pretty much have been lazy all day. But I do have to say that I'm really enjoying this. And it turns out I stopped right at halfway when I DNF'd. So I haven't even read anything new, but this is so much better than the audiobook. I don't have any like plot updates or anything. I just wanted to let you know that I'm enjoying it. I really like Selena. She's tough. I love her. Now let's talk about this love triangle that's brewing, because I have a strong opinion. We have Selena, our main girl, the assassin. We have Cole, Chael, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm saying Cole because I don't know, okay? It just is easier to say. We also have the prince of this kingdom, and Cole is the prince's like bodyguard pretty much. Selena spends most of her time with Cole. He is kind of like her trainer. If you've read Vampire Academy, it's kind of like a Dimitri, Rose Hathaway situation. Actually, Rose and Selena are kind of very similar, and I love that. I feel like these two have a lot of like, I can see the love interest peaking for both of them, and it's going at a good pace. Like they don't know they like each other yet kind of vibes. The thing about these two though, I don't even know if I have this on the screen. I'm just like pointing in the air. I got you. Is that there is literally no reason that they should like each other. It's like an instant attraction, which I can see that happening with like 18 and 19-year-olds, which I think that's their age. But it's annoying. I don't know why it's annoying me. The first time she saw him, she's just like, oh, I wish I could kiss him. Which I guess I've had that feeling when I've seen an attractive man. I am married though, I probably shouldn't be saying that.
Who do you wish you could kiss?
I was kidding.
I wish I could kiss Pedro Pascal.
Me too.
I'd kiss Scarlett Johansson on her.
Okay, let's stop. I guess it's just kind of annoying because they've really only had 2 interactions, and both interactions, they're just thinking about how attractive they are to each other. If we end up getting this at one point, like, this is gonna be the end, right? We have 6 more books to go though, so who the hell knows? I have this weird suspicion though about who is actually killing off the contestants in this competition, and I don't want to say in case I'm right. I don't think I am though. I will not say because this is spoiler free, but I'm gonna tell you for damn sure if I was right. I will tell you if I'm wrong too, okay? Something I'm very much hoping for, and I feel like Sarah J Maas is known for it, is her explosive endings. Oh my god, the light. She has crazy endings, like page turning, I cannot even believe it, fireworks going off, like whoa. So I am kind of expecting that. We'll see if it happens, I'll let you know. All right, I just finished Throne of Glass, as you just saw. I had a lot of fun reading this. I like it, like I said, a lot more than the audiobook. Plus I could make like suspicious notes, and I do like that in a mystery. I also like writing things out when I'm pissed off at what's happening in the plot. The ending, it was dramatic and big, but I don't know, I feel like I was expecting a little more, but again, this is like a 7-book series. I think it's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. I was not right about my suspicions, however, I wish I was, because I feel like in this one, they did take like the most obvious route. And again, this is a 7-book series, so I think the twists and turns and things are gonna get way more interesting and complex. So yeah, I'll probably rate this like a 3.5. I had way more fun than I thought I was wait, no. Do you wanna say hi?
Don't put that in there.
I'm going to. So some things I'm going to be thinking about during this week of reading YA young adult fantasy. The world building was pretty good. I feel like Sarah J Maas always does a really good job of that. Romance. Well, I guess there was a little romance in here, but there was, more importantly, hint for romance in the future. I'm happy with what we got in here. I still am annoyed at this love triangle. And then I feel like YA fantasy especially, there has to be a level of like badassery that the main character has, and I feel like Selena is top. I don't know how anyone could beat her. She's just amazing. I really like how spunky she is, but she's not annoyingly rude. She really meets the expectations of like how badass she's explained to be. She proves it time and time again. Next, I think I'm going to read Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. Oh, it smells like YA fantasy. So this one is following Juliet. She like kills people when she touches them. There's a romance. She has to fight against like the government or something like that. I want to read the first sentences of all of these, and I forgot to do it with Throne of Glass, so let's read it.
After a year of slavery in the salt mines of Indovir, Selena Sardakian was accustomed to being escorted everywhere in shackles and at sword point.
Interesting. I'm saying it like I've never read the book. Okay, Shatter Me. Ooh, this is interesting. There's like a reader note. Apparently there are strike-throughs in this book, like that. It says, the strike-throughs are intentional. The writing in the series is occasionally as erratic as its main character and serves as a visual representation of the chaos in Juliet's mind. Ooh, I love that. See, I love that attention to detail. I think that's so cool. Okay, chapter 1. I've been locked up for 264 days. There's already a bunch of strike throughs. Oh, I have good feeling about this. Okay. The writing, I know I said I was excited for it, but it is so dramatic. It's like so intense. It's very like emo-esque. And I think I would have liked it better if I was younger, but it's a little much. It's very poetic, and I can kind of look past it if I'm just thinking about like this teenager who's just going through it and this is how she thinks. But like on page 7, this boy tilts his head, and instead of saying he tilts his head, she says the tilt of his head cracks gravity in half. It's a little dramatic. So our girl Juliet, she is in a sort of prison. She's been alone for 264 days. She lets us know. And then all of a sudden she gets a roommate, a cellmate, and it's a boy. Not sure why they would do that. I'm guessing from the back of the book we know that she can kill or hurt someone if she touches them. Maybe it's like a punishment for him. After like one instant of being afraid of him or being afraid for him, they suddenly become like soulmates, literally in a matter of like 5 pages. And the way that these two are talking to each other is so annoying. They ask each other questions like back and forth without answering the questions before. It's kind of like when you're in therapy and your therapist just like you ask them a question and then they just answer with more questions. It is very repetitive. And so I'm going back to the author's note here, and it's saying the repetition, the hyperbolic language, the obsession with numbers, these are not errors. As our heroine grows and evolves, so too does the prose. So I'm like just gonna try to be patient. And I've committed to reading this whole book. So I don't even feel the need to DNF right now, but it is kind of frustrating just how dramatic it all is. Yeah, I've gotten to chapter 7. Other than that, our girl Juliet, she just wants to be touched. She wants to be touched by this boy who is in this jail with her. I feel like my immediate concern would be like, get away from me, not come closer, but you know, to each their own. It sounds like I don't like this book, and I guess right now I kind of don't. Also, our main character, she is really weak, and obviously she's been a prisoner, and it's kind of sad. But also going from Selena, from Throne of Glass, to this kind of very passive character, it is a little bit of a drastic change in character tone. I'm guessing this character's really going to like evolve in that way. Folding some laundry, but just 2 chapters later, something actually unexpected just happened. That was a twist. Guys, I'm just about halfway through, and this, I want to DNF it so bad. You know what's interesting though is that the audiobook version that I have on Scribd, I don't know which version came first, but it's very different. There are edits happening. Like there's a lot more being said in the audiobook than in the physical book, and I'm noticing a lot of differences, complete sentences and everything. And some of them have been edited so that I guess there's less hyperbole. For instance, in the book, this guy says something and she says, "I'm stunned." In the audiobook, this guy says something and it says, "and I'm run over with a tractor trailer." So there was a very big jump to something, like I was telling you, there was like a big twist. But since that happened, nothing's really happening, which is, I don't know. There's a love triangle happening again, sort of. I don't know. It's kind of reminding me of Shadow and Bone, and I'm basing that just on having watched the first season of the show. I did read the first book, where there's sort of this childhood love, but also a possible love interest with a morally questionable, sexy sounding man. I don't know. A few weeks happens in this amount of pages that I'm flopping around. There's no talk about what they're doing or why they're doing it. It's just sort of like scenes of teasing romance plots to come in the future. I know I said I didn't want to DNF, but I just don't think this book is for me. Part of me wants to finish it, but like there's been no plot at all, so I can't even, well, I keep forgetting that this is the author of This Woven Kingdom. And I gave this book 4 stars, and it was slow paced. It wasn't as dramatic as this one, but the ending was so good. Like lots of drama, lots of intrigue, made me want to start the second book even though it hadn't been published at the time I read it. So that kind of does make me curious about the ending of this book, but the fact that I'm not enjoying this at all, I feel like that should be a better indication of whether I want to finish the book or not. Because not once did I ever want to DNF this book. I liked this book a lot. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna DNF this. this. Let me know down below if you had any similar feelings but you continued. But I just want to know if this tone continues like throughout the whole series. It's just not for me. It's very almost whiny. I know that sounds mean because our character has been through a lot, but it's just, that's the irritating part for me. So, this might be controversial. I'm sorry. Okay, last night I started The Cruel Prince. I had started this before a few years ago, and I do remember that the first chapter, it's actually the prologue, is like crazy violent, especially for YA. This girl, our main character Jude, she watches her parents, both of them, being brutally murdered. And then she goes and lives with a guy who murders her parents. I've only gotten like 17 pages in. I do love the map, and I love like that each chapter has this little like doodle. It's kind of reminding me of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I read at the first book I read or completed this year, and it was so great and I loved it. It's kind of giving me a similar fairy vibe, like a cottagecore kind of fairy. So I kind of hope we get to learn more about different creatures, different fairies. I don't know, that'd be nice. As for the plot, 16 pages in, our main character, she has two sisters, one of which is half fairy. They all watch their parents get brutally murdered. 10 years have gone by. Jude has kind of accepted how things are. She's just dealt with it, has actually grown to love the man who killed her parents. He's kind of like a stepfather for her. We haven't met the Cruel Prince yet. I hear he's gonna be a dick, so not looking forward to that. There's like a fully grown man in the attic. And we are never, ever, ever getting back together. Okay, I'm halfway through. I am really interested just in this atmosphere. It's super like fairy tale-esque. It's got so much detail about fairies, like I was talking about earlier. And so that's like been my favorite part. And also there's just this mystery feeling. There's like a few different mysteries going on, and I want to know what's happening. Our main girl, Jude, she really wanted to be a knight, but something happens and she sort of gets a just as dangerous proposition. But at the same time, she's sort of in high school, and these mean folks, including the Cruel Prince and his cronies, are there. If I think about too much what's going on, if I'm trying to analyze it too much, I start getting frustrated because it's not making too much sense. Even like revelations that Jude is having about different mysteries, I'm like, girl, how did you get that and put it together to make that? Because it makes no sense. The pacing is a little weird, but I'm not gonna question that. I'm not gonna overanalyze because I'm having fun. And of course, we sort of have a love triangle. At least I know it's going to be a love triangle because I've read so much romance. Even just this description on the back and the fact that it's called The Cruel Prince, I was assuming this was gonna be a bully romance, but as of right now, The Cruel Prince is just a bully. But again, I've read so many romance, I know that he's secretly in love with her. Like, it feels obvious. But what I wasn't anticipating, though I should have, just knowing this genre, is that there's sort of a love triangle. He is so weirdly one-dimensional that he's either a bad guy or he's going to die. Like, there's something weird going on with him and with her sister. Her sister's hiding something. I want to know what's going on. Okay, I just finished The Cruel Prince, and wow, that was suspense-filled. Oh my gosh, lots of action, lots of surprises. Some I saw coming, some I didn't. All in all, so much fucking fun. I've ordered the other ones. I can't wait till they get here. I feel like there's a lot of room for our main character and a lot of other people to screw things up, which I'm not excited about. Like, this is very stressful, but it's entertaining as hell. I also love that our main character, Jude, is just so angry. I feel like that is a type of main character we don't get too much. I feel like sometimes a character can react angrily, obviously. Even in some of the other books I've read for this blog have, fit into that category, but Jude has a lot of anger. She is a naturally angry person, whether by nature or nurture, who the F knows. So I don't know, it's really exciting just to see that in a character, like that pure fury. Okay, there were like 3 things that I measured Throne of Glass with that I'll try to measure with this. Let me try to remember. I think first was the world building. I definitely liked the world that we were in. It was very like mystical and magical. And even though like Throne of Glass was as well, this is just a different level. I felt like it was so detailed and it made me feel just like, you know, these little pages, just that it was cute, but also deadly. There's knives, but there's also little frogs and flowers. I don't know. I thought it was just such a cool world. The romantic aspects in this, again, we had a sort of love triangle. I did like Throne of Glass better. I feel like there was more tension, even with, you know, the love triangle parts that I didn't like. I feel like the romance in here was almost sort of glazed over. There was definitely hints for the future, but there's also this kind of feeling that like anyone could be the love interest. Like I feel like there doesn't have to be one. I think there might be like one final, but I feel like a lot of twists and turns can happen. So there's like good and bad for not having like a really strong connection in this first book. I gotta say though, the bully romance, I don't know what it is. Punk 57 got me too. I have believed it in here. It's like fun to read because it's like in real life, it would be horrible. And then the other thing I think was the badassness of our main character. I don't think she measures up to Selena. Like Selena is so confident in herself, whereas Jude is doubting herself, but she is going to pretend that she is confident. So I respect that. I could never. She is skilled. She does learn throughout here. She trains kind of just like Selena does, and I do love that. But yeah, I don't think she's as badass as Selena, at least not yet. We'll see. And so now we are going to start Once Upon a Broken Heart. And if I'm being honest, this is the one I've most to look forward to in terms of romance specifically because I've heard so much hype about it. And I'm kind of scared now because after just finishing this, I really, really like this. I'm giving it 4 stars, by the way. So let's start this. What is the first sentence? Did I even read this first sentence? Okay, just in case I didn't read the first sentence of The Cruel Prince, here it is. On a drowsy Sunday afternoon, a man in a long dark coat hesitated in front of a house on a tree-lined street. And now we get the first sentence of Once Upon a Broken Heart. Oh my gosh. This dedication for anyone who has ever made a bad decision because of a broken heart. Oh my God. Okay. I already love this. The bell hanging outside the curiosity shop knew the human was trouble from the way he moved through the door. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I got to part 2. It's just about a quarter of the way through the book. Let me tell you what's going on and what this book is about. First of all, there is so much happening, like it's a whirlwind of things happening and it's very quick. I feel like I can get used to it as long as the pace kind of stays quick the entire time, because if that was all just to get to like this point and then it's gonna be like glacial, I'm gonna be annoyed. So this book follows our main character named Evangeline, and in this world there are sort of like gods and goddesses, almost like mythology. There are 16 fates, one of which is the Prince of Hearts, and Evangeline in the very beginning finds his little church and she goes in and she sort of prays to him and begs him to help her. This boy that she's madly in love with is marrying her stepsister and she believes that he's cursed. And of course, me being cynical, I'm like, girl, I don't think he's cursed. He's probably just a dick. And then the Prince of Hearts shows up and I think he thinks the same thing. And so in the first chapter, this wedding is stopped and something happens, which I'm not gonna tell you about because it's not on the back of the book. On page 10, it pretty much tells you what's gonna happen in this book. It says, according to the myths, the Prince of Hearts was not capable of love because his heart has stopped beating long ago. Only one person could make it work again, his one true love. I wonder who that could be. It's clearly going to be Evangeline. So I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that to happen. Apparently, if he kisses anyone but his true love, that girl will die. And apparently, to get the prince to help her to stop this marriage, Evangeline owes him 3 kisses, but not for him. It's 3 kisses to whoever he wants her to kiss, which I don't get how that could be useful in any way, but we're gonna find out. So at part 2, the entire plot of this book that I thought was going to be around this like wedding, that was over in like chapter 1. So I have no idea what the whole rest of this book is gonna be about. So that's what I mean about the pacing, is that like things have gotten off to a super quick start. The entire plot of what I thought the whole book was gonna be about was finished in like chapter 1. And there was a huge like plot twist. And now our character is traveling to an entirely different continent, maybe? I assume this is going to be a love triangle with that guy that she was in love with, but I think she's already over him. Is there going to be another love triangle? I don't know. My thoughts and enjoyment level right now are kind of low, but I'm intrigued enough to keep going. I just am so confused about what's going to be happening in this book. I don't know why I feel the need to have to know that. It's like, it's a book. You'll find out. Okay, I am halfway through now. The pace is just as fast. Another huge plot point happened that I thought was gonna take like the whole book. No, it was over very, very quickly. I don't know how much I like this. Actually, I know that I don't like it that much, okay? I think a part of the fast-pacedness is making this feel very much like a fairy tale though, and it really does match like the tone of the book or like the vibe that they're going for. But I don't know that I like our main character. See, everything's just happening so quick that it's like plot, and there's not that much character development or like even, I don't really feel like I know our main character very well.
What are you doing?
Talking to my internet friend.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Are you live?
I'm live right now. I'll definitely be finishing it because it's fast to read, the font's really big, and like the plot is going by very quickly. But I just like, I'm not even that intrigued about whatever mystery is happening just because we're moving on from things so quickly. Like I really just don't know what to think. So I'll let you know when I finish the book. Okay, I just finished this book. I did not like it. I think it was really fast paced, and so that way I could read it quickly. And when something started bugging me, it was nice to be like, oh, I know this isn't going to be going on for much longer, so let me just power through. But then like, I didn't like anything. That's a lie. There was some good sexual tension in here. I think maybe better than any of the others. So I think my final rating is gonna be a 2.5, and it sucks because if I hadn't have already bought the second one, I probably wouldn't ever pick it up, but I have bought it. That's what I get for just assuming I'm going to like this. I think it's just the fact that I couldn't really get that close to our main character, and so therefore anything that was happening, it didn't really mean much to me at all. But I know that sometimes the first book in a series can be a little clunky because there's so much setup that has to be done. So maybe the series will get better. I've heard a lot more things about the second one than the first, so I'm gonna read it eventually. As for the things that I was judging the other books by, first, world building. I thought this was interesting in a way that it's almost like mythological. I thought that was pretty cool, but kind of like I said before, there was much more plot than world building or character development in here, so I don't think it was that strong of a world that was built, at least in comparison to like The Cruel Prince. Romance subplot, let's see. I think it was strong. There were some stupid love triangles in here. There were multiple love triangles in here, I guess. But the main love interest, that was good. And then finally, the badassness of our main character, absolutely not. Evangeline was a little bit dumb. She got herself into trouble. I can't say that she was willing to take a risk for her beliefs, so that's good. I can respect that. But she made some dumbass choices. And she's not very strong. Like, she doesn't really have that much skill. I guess her skill and her real big character trait is that she believes in true love, which actually at the end, anyway. I think overall enjoyment, my favorite was The Cruel Prince, then Throne of Glass, then Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then Shatter Me. I do think I'm going to finish this because I have it. I kind of want to see this love triangle blossom. So I think eventually I will finish it, but yeah. I think The Cruel Prince had the best world building. All of them had pretty good romance or, you know, intrigue for future romance. And Selena, she's as badass as it gets, and I'm so excited to keep going with her. So yes, I have learned a lot in this video, in this vlog, so thank you for watching. I am a YA reader. Wow, look at me. I was already one before, but I feel like I'm officially a YA reader now. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!